If you really want to know why deranged woke liberals constantly point the finger at Trump and say he's a pedo or he's Epstein's buddy, it's like, if you, like, other than the fact that you know they're lying to themselves and they're lying to you, but if you really want to know, even the simplest terms, the layers beneath that delusion that they have, you're going to want to stick around for this entire video. It's going to be longer than usual. I, for several years, did content on narcissistic personality disorder. If you're interested in that topic, there's a link in my bio to my other account with 48,000 followers and years worth of content where I'm talking about it. Now, I know a lot of you that are coming through that aren't wokies are going, rolling your eyes and going, oh my God, narcissist, that term, narcissists don't exist, that's an overused term and this and that. Well, it's a misused term. But the very reason why in the cultural zeitgeist narcissists look like that is because liberal white girls, little woke white girls, running around calling their exes narcissists because they were holding them accountable for their actions and they're calling them out on their selfishness. And so they're a narcissist. That's exactly what narcissists do. They project who they are. How many times have you heard woke leftists say something racist or sexist and they're calling you the racist or the sexist? It's about protecting a false identity. And like another reason that they overuse that term narcissist isn't to project themselves on others, but it is also to water down the term and to get people to not think about it. It's one of the devil's tricks. I'm going to be using a lot of basic language here, like relatively basic language, just to get the idea through, not necessarily exact, but where I'm trying to hit. And so the first thing the devil wants you to do is not believe in the devil, right? That's his greatest trick. So narcissists run around overusing that word, abuse others in such a way that they can blame the other person, blame shift, and not take accountability because they want you to hear that word narcissistic personality disorder, and go, I don't want to hear about that. It's all bull. It's a lie. It's BS. It's one of their greatest tricks. So understand that there are people with high levels of narcissism. There are personality disorders that are not NPD that involve narcissism. It's like psychopathy, sociopathy, and conditions that aren't a cluster B personality disorder that involve a lot of narcissism. But in any case, someone who has a high level of narcissistic tendencies is a person who has a broken inner child. They're traumatized through their youth or at some point in their lives, or they've chosen to lie over and over again because of insecurity or abandonment issues. And so they abandon themselves instead of trying to heal, and they create a false facade, a false identity, like identity politics. Narcissists are always the hero or the victim. They're never the villain. They can never face who they truly are. In order to break the facade, to admit that they're wrong, take accountability, would be to destroy that false identity that they create. And this is why leftists will fight into the dirt about, like, the party switch, even though there is all of history and all of American history to point that Democrats owned slaves, fought a war to keep their slaves, lost that war, created the KKK, tried to stop every advancement of black culture all the way up until they couldn't do it anymore. When Lyndon Johnson, who was fighting it for how many times, finally let it pass so that they could take credit for it. Like, that's narcissistic behavior. You can't convince someone who needs that, who needs the idea that the Republicans or conservatives are bad guys, even though you present a ton of evidence. They will manufacture their own. They will create their own. They will revise history in order for them to be a hero or a victim. You could point out time and time again that George Floyd was a drug addict, woman-beating, horrible person in his community, was not a good person in any way, and yet Saint Floyd of fentanyl is one of their heroes. Just most recently, right? Just Renee Good. Like, you can show them evidence. You know, this woman who got up and she planned in her day to go harass federal agents who were going after criminals and child traffickers, and she tried to run one over, and she got shot for it. But she's a hero. Evidence doesn't matter when it comes to dealing with a narcissist trying to maintain their lies. If a narcissist has to take accountability, then they have to look at themselves. And that's the last thing that they would want to do. Now, I got to kind of go down a spiritual road here, because when you're a person who lives in lies and lives in illusions and delusions, when you're someone who does anything whatsoever to fight for evil, then you attract evil entities. You attract dark entities. And no matter what your spiritual system of belief is, if you have one, this is a common thread. This is pretty much well known. And when you are a person who lives in darkness, when you co-sign to the devil, we'll use Christian terms for this. When you co-sign to the devil, when you sign that contract, the devil blesses you with certain things. This is why a lot of the woke actors in Hollywood and woke singers, woke politicians, this is how they got a lot of the wealth that they get, is because materialism is a gift that can be given to you by the devil. Now, among other gifts that you can be given, like second sight and some psychic abilities and the evil eye, that contract states that they have to destroy other people in order to get the blessings that they get. And this is why woke leftists, woke liberals so they're Luciferian. That's the best way that I could really put it. They're Luciferian. Baal, Moloch, their heroes in Hollywood are predators, all right? Epstein is one of their heroes. Let me explain. When you look at the Epstein emails, one of the things that he was really interested in was pushing trans ideology and the non-binary stuff. Epstein, like whatever type of narcissist he was, they're deviants. They're sexual deviants. So using children, using pure energy, just look up Ally Carter. Listen to some of the things Ally Carter has to say. The survivors of Epstein. Using innocence is like giving sacrifice to their dark lords so that they can get the blessings. Like energy vampirism and things like that are legit. These are real things in this world. And one of the ways to make children more accessible to perverts is to confuse them with adult ideals and adult situations and adult concepts, but also in reverse. The reason that transgenderism is on the rise is not because it never existed. There's always been people in our society who have had gender dysphoria, he, she, he's. There's always been people who are androgynous in our society. Like, these are aberrations, yes, but they have existed. The reason that we're seeing a rise in it is not just to make children more accessible to perverts, but it's to confuse energies. You see, narcissistic men are toxic women. Narcissistic women are toxic men. You see the way that liberal women act. They're toxic dudes. And liberal men, they're unregulated toxic women. And that's a product of the imbalance of energies, the reversal of energies that takes place within these people. Everything is always opposite day in a narcissist's mind, right? Truth or lies and lies are truth. You see how they think and the things they say online. You're like, oh my God, how do you live like that? Like, how do you live in that misery? How do you live thinking like that in reverse? Well, it's because these people depend on one of two types of energy or fuel: positive supply and negative supply. They can live on positive supply, which is like, let's say, okay, Billie Eilish. Here's a good example. Billie Eilish gets up on stage, right? And she thinks she's going to get a bunch of positive supply, narcissistic supply, by saying that we live on stolen land or whatever crap she said, right? And she's getting applause and accolades from all the other devil worshippers in Hollywood. The thing is that she got negative supply in the wrong way. See, she was instantly held accountable by the internet for that BS, because people are finally seeing through it, thank the gods. So she was held accountable for her actions. She didn't get her positive supply. She was held accountable. Where have we seen Billie Eilish? She's not making any more music until Trump is gone? No, that's because the bitch is embarrassed that she got clowned and called out for who she was and was exposed for who the person that she really is. And now she's in hiding. The one that narcissists really like are negative supply, all right? They love hurting people, traumatizing people, hating on people, getting together with groups of other bullies, making up lies and trying to hurt someone, make them lose their job, make them lose their mind, make them feel horrible. They're the foot soldiers of evil. That's why they do these things. It's fulfilling the contract with darkness that gives them the blessings and the false joy that they get. Okay, I know it's a long video, but now we're going to come back to the original reason. Why do woke leftists constantly point the finger at Trump? Because Trump is something that they hate. Trump's the adult in the room. Trump holds people accountable, and he's what I spent years becoming, and something that I truly believe he is and love seeing out in the world, a narcissist slayer. See, the thing about narcissistic personalities is that they can have a high IQ. They can be smart people, but they never have a high EQ. They don't have high emotional intelligence. They're emotionally deregulated and emotionally immature. And you can always use that to to calculate their moves before they do. They're impulsive. They have addictive personalities. They're addicted to the hate. They're addicted to the cortisol. They're addicted to the rage. And so they absolutely hate Trump. But not only that, but okay, you got to look at like the demon spirit. What I call the demon spirit of narcissism is it's like a membrane over society. It's a membrane over us. It's why the Christians call it legion. And the reason is because one demon spirit like Jezebel doesn't just stay in one person. It infects, it is an energy wave. It is a membrane across multiple people. And that membrane was really upset when Epstein, one of their favorite Luciferians, got held accountable for the crap that he did. I'm not going to get into everything as to why, but let's just say God finally stepped in. Epstein is one of the heroes of the woke left, and they don't even realize it. Epstein's buddies were woke Democrat politicians, woke liberal Hollywood actors and comedians and singers. It was all them. I'm not saying there weren't any conservatives or any Republicans or anybody else that weren't in there, but the majority of them was them. And in order to protect the facade, protect the illusion that they need to keep up, the delusion, the narcissistic shell, in order to keep up that false facade of identities that they need to protect, they will project upon Donald Trump, who is the enemy of evil. All right? I'm not saying Trump's perfect. I'm not. I'm not saying it, but he's not evil. And he dropped a dime on Epstein that had him eventually looked at and arrested in the 2000s. Well, evil did step in and, gave him 2 years for nothing, and then hasn't given any of the victims justice now. And that's another point. If liberals, woke liberals, actually cared about victims, why do they keep focusing on Trump? Why do they not listen to the victims that are out there? Why do they not actually support them and do something? Well, they may get up every now and again and say they support them. You may see some fringe woke liberals, standing with them and letting them speak. They're not going to do shit because it's their people. And all of them, understand this, all of them, from being funded the No Kings protests, funded protesters, Antifa, everything, all the chaos that has been going on for the longest time are all funded by the same infant-devouring pedo billionaires. The top 13 families, and all that stuff for I don't know how long. The world's a messed up place. But there is two sides, definitively. There is good and there is evil. You can have what you believe to be liberal values, and wokies out there that you might be hate watching this. You can have those and not serve evil masters. All right? I'm not saying you have to be Republican or conservative, but we see it. You know who the evil ones are. Yeah, so I mean, that's the reason. Like the external tormentor that has been constructed is Donald Trump, and he is the one who actually took down Epstein. He's the one who's released the Epstein files. I am a little disappointed that he is the one who said they're not going to pursue the people that are the names that were redacted because it would bring down the entire system. Well, F the fucking system, then the system needs to come down. But I have some small amount of faith that Trump will, as he has shown us before, do it in another way. That's what I'm hoping for. My love to y'all. Be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. And never again suffer these fools.
The Lord tells me he can get me out of this mess, but he's pretty sure you're fucked.